In this video, we will show you how to do your oil change. You want to make sure you have the proper filter and 6.6 quarts of 5W30 oil. Let's get into it. Okay friends, let's get started on our job. We're going to make our way up under the hood. You want to remove your oil cap and then also make sure that the oil dipstick can lift up, and then of course once it's up, we'll just push it right back down for now. Let's make our way underneath the front of the vehicle. It's common on these vehicles to have different types of skid shields across the front. Either way, you're going to have to gain access approximately in the center area of the shield. So with that said, remove your shield. On our application, we're going to start from the back. We'll find a 10mm headed bolt, loosen it up just enough, and then move along to our 4 forward bolts. Typically, you just take this out and then put it back in a couple threads. I'm using 18mm for these front bolts. Make sure you're holding onto that shield for the last one. You don't want it to fall down and potentially hit you in the head. To remove the shield, we'll grab onto it and slide it rearward. With the shield out of the way, we have a nice clear view of the oil filter and of the oil filter housing. It's a good idea to make sure you have this entire area cleaned down. You don't want any dirt or debris making its way into the engine in any way. Let's make sure we have a collection bucket under the area. Once you feel as though you have it cleaned down well enough, we'll continue on with an oil filter wrench. Get around the oil filter and turn it counterclockwise. Keep in mind, it will have oil in this area. Now it's time to prime our oil filter. Take some of your brand new oil and pour it right into the center until it starts coming out through the top. Once you've reached that point, continue on with a gloved finger and lubricate the entire gasket with some of that new oil. Let's install the oil filter. Turn the oil filter clockwise until it feels as though it's snug. Once it's bottomed out, you want to continue 1/8 of a turn. After you feel as though you have it snug, go ahead and clean down your mess and we'll continue on. Now that we cleaned up the front area, it's going to be time to start draining the oil from the oil pan. You're going to find that you have a 14mm drain plug for this. Make sure you have your collection bucket under the area. Now while that continues draining, let's pay attention to the drain plug. We're going to have to remove the gasket from the drain plug itself. Just go ahead and grab right onto that and set it aside for recycling. After you have that off of there, make sure you clean up the drain plug. You want to inspect the threaded area, make sure it's in good condition, and make sure there's nothing along the base that could get in the way of the gasket. Once you have your drain plug fully cleaned up, we'll continue on putting on a new drain plug gasket. We'll take this and slide it right into position. Bottom it out against the base of the drain plug. Now that we have this to the point that it's just barely dripping out of here, I'll wipe down the area and put in my drain plug. Once that drain plug's bottomed out, torque it to 25 foot-pounds. Clean up your mess and prepare to put on your skid shield. Now when we put the shield up on there, we remember that we left our rearward bolt in there. It should have 2 of them. Ours was missing 1. Looking at the bottom of the shield here on the back side, you can see the slot that needs to fit into. Slide it in. We'll bring this forward, align our 4 forward mounting bolts, start those in. Snug them up. And then the rear. Now we can make our way back up to the top. You want to make sure that you definitely have the oil dipstick down. After that, we'll continue on by adding 6.6 quarts of 5W30 oil. All right, so this is our last quart here. We're just going to make sure we only put in just over half of it, 0.6. One more here. That looks pretty good. Install your oil cap. The next thing you want to do while the oil dipstick is still down, hop in the passenger compartment. You're going to want to start it up. Let it run for a little while. Make sure you don't have an oil leak. Turn it off, and then we'll come back out here and double check our oil level. Okay, now that I let it run, I'll make my way back out here, grab that dipstick. We'll pull it out completely, wipe it off, and then recheck it. Before I put it back in there though, I want to talk to you about the dipstick itself. Now looking at the very end of this, you can see that you have a low dot down here, and then a high dot up here. As long as your oil is anywhere in between this area, preferably closest to the top dot, you're good to go. If it's above the top dot, that means you added too much. You need to drain some out, otherwise you could cause some serious damage to your engine. Other than that, if it's too low, just add a little bit more until it's within this range. All right, that looks good. We'll wipe it off and reinsert it.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.